In a peaceful village nestled among rolling green hills and a flowing river, there lived a humble farmer named Eric. He was well known for his kindness and honesty. Despite his relentless efforts, life had always been challenging for him. His crops often failed, his earnings were small, and no matter how hard he tried, success always seemed just out of reach. Yet, he never complained and firmly believed that everything happened for a reason. One year, a devastating drought hit the village. The river dried up, and the crops withered under the relentless sun. Many farmers abandoned their land and moved to nearby cities in search of work, but Eric refused to leave his ancestral home. He prayed for rain, but the sky remained cloudless. Feeling abandoned, he often questioned why fate had been so cruel to him. "What have I done to deserve this?" he wondered. One evening, as he sat beneath an old banyan tree, an elderly sage passed by and noticed the sorrow in Eric's eyes. The sage, sensing his troubles, sat beside him and said, "My son, I can see pain in your eyes. What burdens your heart?" Eric sighed and responded, "Everything I have worked for is slipping away. My crops have failed, my land is turning barren, and I see no hope. Why is life so unfair?" The sage smiled gently and said, "Let me share a story that might help you understand. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there was a wise and just king. His most trusted minister, Jack, was known for his intelligence and wisdom. However, Jack had an unusual habit. Whenever misfortune struck, he would always say, "Everything happens for a reason." One day, while hunting in the deep forest, the king accidentally cut his finger while shooting an arrow. Blood dripped from his wound, and he winced in pain. Jack, standing nearby, calmly remarked, "Everything happens for a reason, Your Majesty." Furious, the king exclaimed, "How can losing my finger possibly be for a good reason? You always say this." Enraged, he ordered his guards to imprison Jack. A few days later, while still nursing his wound, the king decided to go hunting alone. Venturing deeper into the forest, he was suddenly captured by a tribe of cannibals. They tied him up, preparing to sacrifice him to their gods. Just as they were about to light the fire, the tribe's leader noticed the missing finger. In their belief, sacrifices had to be physically whole. Anyone with a missing body part was considered unworthy. Seeing this, they immediately set the king free. As he rushed back to his palace, he realized the truth in Jack's words. The loss of his finger had saved his life. He hurried to the prison, released his minister, and said, "You were right. Losing my finger saved me. But tell me, you were imprisoned unfairly. How could that be for a reason?" Jack smiled and replied, "Your Majesty, had I not been imprisoned, I would have accompanied you on the hunt. Since I have all my fingers, the tribe would have sacrificed me instead." The king laughed heartily, finally understanding, indeed, everything happens for a reason. Eric listened intently as the sage finished the story. Then, the sage continued, "My son, life often takes things away from us only to give us something better in return. We may not realize it at first, but in time, we come to understand. Perhaps this drought is not a punishment but a blessing in disguise, guiding you toward a new path. Trust that the universe has a plan for you." Eric remained silent for a long moment, then nodded with newfound determination. "I will not give up," he said. Days passed and the drought persisted. But instead of waiting for the rain, Eric decided to dig deeper into his land, hoping to find an underground water source. To his amazement, he struck hidden water. Not only did he save his own land, but he also helped the entire village by redirecting the water to other farms. His land flourished and his hard work paid off. The drought, which once seemed like a curse, had turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Years later, as he reflected on his struggles, he smiled and whispered, "Everything happens for a reason." Life often presents us with challenges, losses, and unexpected hardships. In the moment, we may not understand why things unfold the way they do. But if we have faith and patience, we come to realize that every event has a purpose. Just like the king whose lost fingers saved his life and Eric who faced drought only to uncover a hidden water source, we must trust that every difficulty is shaping us for something greater. So whenever life seems unfair, take a deep breath and remind yourself, everything happens for a reason. With each challenge, we grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The key is to embrace the journey and trust in the process. Life's greatest lessons often come from our hardest struggles. So, when faced with obstacles, remember that they are shaping you into a better version of yourself. And as we navigate through life's ups and downs, let's never forget to help others along the way. Just as Eric helped his village, our actions can have a profound impact on those around us. In the end, it's our resilience, faith, and willingness to persevere that define us. Remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, smile and remind yourself, everything happens for a reason.